Black Op Radio presents 50 Reasons for 50 Years. Why the Warren Commission may be the greatest fraud perpetrated on the American public. Now your host, Len Osanic.
In this episode, we examine the abysmal failure of the Warren Commission to investigate what went on in Dealey Plaza. There were hundreds of pictures taken. There was film taken. Who was caught on film and what role could they have been playing? Pentagon insider Colonel Fletcher Prouty discusses further.
Not long after the Warren Commission had come out, a friend of mine showed me a group of photographs that had been taken within the period of 30 minutes before the time the president was killed and 30 minutes afterwards, thinking that people who were involved, they're bound to be or may be within that group. And among them were pictures which have become quite famous among the assassination buff crowd. And that group is called the Tramps. I think there's 7 or 8 pictures. There may be more. I think I have about 8 of them. And I was shown this photograph among others. And it is chronologically the first picture of the Tramps. The police were leading them from the freight car where they had removed them and were taking them to the Dallas Sheriff's Office. And as they were walking, they began to come by the school book depository building where allegedly Oswald had fired the shots. So they were just coming by the corner of the building, and this is the garage door fence material that's there. I realized that something very strange is in this picture. Here's a policeman. Here are 2 tramps, one of them sort of behind the other so you don't see it. Here's another tramp, and here's another policeman. And here's a bystander casually walking by this strange little scene of 2 policemen with shotguns and 3 prisoners, presumably. And here's this stranger going by, doesn't even look at him, just wandering down the street as though that was going to get a cup of coffee somewhere, and this happened every day. That, I realized immediately, is Ed Lansdale. Now, I met General Lansdale in the Philippines in 1953. Later, when Lansdale came back from the Philippines, and when I was done in Tokyo, we both happened to be assigned to the Office of Air Force Plans. And his office was just one section over from where my office was. I knew him very well during that period. In early 1960, General Lansdale was assigned to the Office of the Secretary of Defense in the Office of Special Operations, which covered clandestine operations, the national security agents, the reconnaissance business, all the highly classified jobs. And within a month or so, I was transferred to the same office to do the same work in the Secretary of Defense's office that I'd been doing for the Air Force, which was the military support of the clandestine operations of CIA. Lansdale, in many respects, was the epitome of a CIA agent, which means he's on orders from somebody. He was close to people in big business. When he went to Manila, he was not against Quirino, but he had been told to overthrow Quirino and get somebody else in as president of the Philippines. It wasn't because he didn't like Quirino, it was just his job. He was an agent, and he did it very successfully. It begins to open a door to an area of information about the assassination of Kennedy that a lot of people haven't thought about, haven't known about. He was an expert at things that are more important than shooting in a thing like the assassination. Any conspiracy of that order must have a cover story that lasts year after year and is impregnable. Someone had to orchestrate the Lee Harvey Oswald cover story, the Ruby cover story, the New Orleans side of it, all that sort of stuff that the people have studied so meticulously since then has all been orchestrated just like somebody writing a movie or a play and then making it live for 30 years. That cover story, there isn't a newspaper in this country that will print the simple sentence, Oswald did not do it. Not one.
General Lansdale specialized in political psychological warfare operations and manipulation of governments. Lansdale retired from the military in October 1963 and was said to be on a road trip to Colorado at the time of the assassination. Documentary evidence places Lansdale in Fort Worth, Texas, at the same hotel JFK would stay at a week before the assassination. Stay tuned for the next installment as we expose week after week 50 lies the Warren Commission would like you to believe.